who has turbocharged us. But since we are short on time today, top 5 teams that I believe are ranked too high. Just based on it, Tim Brando got me thinking yesterday, so I went and looked and did my own. And some of these teams I think are going to be good, but I think they need to earn their spot a little bit more into that ranking. Number 5, Alabama at number 4. I know it's probably crazy to say that Alabama's ranked too high, but look, they were not their best version of themselves last year. They're going to have a new quarterback this year. We got to see where they are. Let's not just put them, at 4th or 3rd just because they are Alabama. I don't think it would be bad to say that Alabama could be 7th or 8th. I feel actually better about Clemson than I do about Alabama. I think they're more of a sure thing right now than Alabama is. That's not to say that I don't think Alabama will be good, but I do think that they have more question marks than some of the other teams in the top 10.
Enjoy your mentions.
I
I agree that they're not necessarily, having to be a top 5. I have a hard time arguing Alabama at any point in time outside of a top 5, though. So, yeah, I get where you're coming from, though. Absolutely.
Yeah, look, look, and they're probably a top 5 team, but, maybe make them earn it this time. Not that they haven't, but make them earn it on this year. Number 4, Tennessee. They just had the best season they've had in a long time. I'm a big believer in Joe Milton, especially with Josh Heupel coaching him. But I do want to see if they can do it in back-to-back years because they did lose Hendon Hooker. They lost Jalen Hyatt. They lost Cedric Tillman. They lost a bunch of players. Let's see if they're going to do it year over year before, you throw them back in the top 15. To me, it wouldn't have been terrible to rank them at 20, and just see. Because, again, let them hit that spot and see if they are, in fact, truly back to being the Tennessee of the 80s and 90s.
Well, if it's anything like the Baylor offenses, and that's what he's running, then, you usually just replace the quarterback. But, yeah, who's to say Joe Milton's not more of a Chris Johnson than he is a Seth Russell? So, yeah, I totally get that, you lose Jalen Hyatt, you lose Hendon Hooker, you lose others, maybe thinking they take a bit of a step back. I still think they'll be really stinking good, but, yeah, maybe not as high as they were in the debut.
Yeah. Number 3, Wisconsin. Look, we know Tanner Mordecai well. Luke Fickell's an excellent coach. He's probably going to have the Badgers humming at some point. But again, you're talking about new coach, new quarterback, new system, all these things new. Braylon Allen's a fantastic player. But maybe just a little bit higher than I think they should have been. Let's see what's going on at Wisconsin before we kind of throw them up there as high as they were.
Yeah, I want to circle back to Tennessee for a second. I know we got to do it for this, but 12 is not like super high. So, but yeah, I get where you're coming from there. It'd be one thing. I think it'd be pretty egregious if they were like at 7 or something like that. But 12, you're starting to get into kind of the middle. So I don't think that's so bad, really, given what they lost, because I do think they're going to be really good again. But as far as Wisconsin, a little lower is what you're saying?
Yeah, a little lower.
Okay. Yeah, they're top 20 to start off with, and,
I could have bought the top 3. I'll just tell you these next 3. I could have bought them slightly out of the poll, all of them.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that's just a lot of faith in Fickell and also Mordecai, like you said, and, Longo and all of the rest of the changes that have been made there. Yeah, that's some respect being given that's not necessarily, I guess, fully ironed out or earned at this point, but that's a lot of it. That's this poll. Nobody's really earned anything other than what they did last year and in the offseason. But, okay, I can see why you maybe just don't have top 20 confidence in them right off the bat.
By the way, did you hear what happened? Wisconsin had a tweet showing Tanner Mordecai at practice. When Fickell came to Wisconsin, he brought a lot of that social media group with him. The guy had on the tweet the Cincinnati Bearcats logo, because that's where he used to be, and he just made an honest mistake and there was Tanner Mordecai with the Cincinnati football logo.
I'm sure they'd love to have him at Cincinnati. Number 2, Iowa. I don't think they should. I honestly think, especially these two, the number 2 and number 1, I don't believe should have been ranked in the preseason poll at all. I know Iowa's going to have a good defense, blah, 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 blah. But you're going to need to score more than 10 points a game to me to – I think this is more respect than is due to Kirk Ferentz at this point, and they've got to improve on offense. I know Cade McNamara could theoretically be an upgrade, but sometimes it's not about it's not about just that guy. So yeah, I just don't think they should have been in the poll at all.
I mean, they barely were. So I mean, they got 25 out of 25. So I mean, they were hardly there. But I'm with you. I mean, I don't think it's all that funny, even at this point, how atrocious their offense has been. So, I mean, they're looking to change that. We'll see how McNamara and company do. But, it's hard to argue with the amount of success that Ferentz has had, and yet still, I mean, there should be so much more based on the fact that the offense was so bad. And, I mean, to the point of last year, it was ridiculous, man. It was like a joke, but then became a joke of a joke, and then it's just like, it's almost not even funny how stupid this is of how bad this is. You know what I mean? It's like, it's actually gone from funny to just like, it kind of pisses me off that this is how bad your offense is. So, yeah, I can't wait to see how they've upgraded, so to speak. But, yeah, some respect being given, but not a whole lot because, again, it's 25 out of 25. But I can see not thinking that they're that caliber, I guess.
Yeah. He's been the coach there since 1999. He's been to the bowl game 19 times out of 23 years. I'm not saying like 10, 12, 15, but the consistency, even with that horrific offense, the consistency when he's been there has been there. They're almost always a bowl team. 2020 didn't count because of COVID.
Yeah, they didn't pull a Frank Solich in Nebraska and feel like, only 8 wins and 9 wins at Iowa. Oh, my gosh, this isn't good enough for us. We got to fire Ferentz to get over the hump and get to 11 and 12 wins. Oh, wait, he does that regularly? Yeah, they're smart. They know what they've got, and they know that, he is about as good as you could probably hope for and has been for the long haul. So I do think now it's getting to a point, though, if he's been around long enough and it's frustrating enough that you're like, okay, the wins are great, but this sucks to watch. Yeah. Like, this isn't fun to watch on a weekly basis. I think that's where some of the fans have to be now. Like, it's inexcusable that we don't have a better offense than this. So that's where some of that angst has certainly come from.
And especially with the 12-team playoff coming, Iowa's a team that could regularly be in that. Sure. But if you're regularly in it...
If they get to that point where they were pretty good.
Yeah, so if they're still, regularly a top 15, 10 team, they're regularly going to be in the mix for that. But if you're going to be in it in the first round and get waxed by a team that throws the forward pass, your fans are just going to get mad and tired of it.
Yeah, their defense is incredible. I mean, like, you just wish their offense was a little bit better. But, yeah, I mean, I think that you love what you've had and the results and all of that, and they appreciate that. But at this point, it's like you got to, with what people are donating and expecting, you got to be able to put a serviceable offense out on the field. Yep.
Number 1, Texas A&M. Oh, golly, what happened there? I don't know what that was.
My voice
Jimbo
is like
Fisher.
halfway gone.
Yeah. Texas A&M.
Sound like Brian Kelly fitting in at LSU all of a sudden.
Texas A&M. I know they're ranked low, but this was a 5-7 team a year ago. There are many more deserving teams on that other receiving votes than A&M. These guys have to earn it. They've got to earn it. And them ranked at all, to me, was amazing, given how poorly they played last year and how they didn't show up. Now, I know they will probably be better this year because, given what they have with the roster, you can't be much worse than they were. But I just think that it's kind of silly that you just kind of threw them in over Tech in one poll, over schools like UTSA to me should have been the poll, Tulane, Tulane has a returning quarterback and beat USC last year. A&M did none of those things.
No.
Yeah, I think it's stupid. I think it's lazy, and I think it's just there will be the whole 8 of the 25 are from the SEC, that kind of jazz, and it's like I hate that kind of graphic stuff anyways because it's just there's nothing really to it. It's just a vote based on just nothing but speculation. I mean, at least week 2 you've got a result to go off of. But, like we talked about with Tulane, it's, oh, God, we're at like 23 now. How do we fill out the end of this? All right, A&M. Okay, sure. They should be better. And I think that's, oh, God, we almost forgot about Tulane. Better stick them in there. But, yeah, I mean, A&M doesn't deserve per se to be ranked. I can see why you definitely think they're going to be better. I can see why you think they'll eventually be top 25, but I don't see why you don't allow them to earn it as well.
I think they'd like to have probably been unranked just to kind
of move. It's just a very empty number 23 ranking that doesn't really have much substance to it. And I know after the fact, I just thought they were going to be better. But, yeah, I mean, like, let them show it before you just assume that they will be. But that's part of the ups and downs of a preseason poll is you're going off of recruiting rankings for some and, off-season moves and things like that. It's hard to get a gauge, but, they're not deserving of it.
All right, Paul, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Brought to you by Texas